From the Ticats Audio Network, this is Ticats Today with Brayden, Neville.
On today's episode, 2 Hamilton Tiger Cats have been named CFL All-Stars. We sit down with pro football's all-time leader in interceptions and 3-time Grey Cup champion Les Browne, and former Ticats O-Lineman Mike Filer joins the show. It's Wednesday, November 8th, 2023, and you're listening to Ticats Today, the lead-up to the 110th Grey Cup. A very cool episode for you all today with a couple great Ticats alumni, Mike Filer and Les Browne, and they have some awesome stories about their experiences with the Grey Cup, the awards, and so much more. We'll get to those shortly, but before we get to those guys, today the CFL announced their All-Stars, and 2 Ticats were named to this year's team. Tim White at receiver, he led all CFL receivers in receiving yards. No surprise there. He also had a career year for the Cats. And newcomer Casey Sales was named an All-Star at defensive tackle for the first time in his career. So 2 guys who were very, very deserving. I'm pretty surprised Brandon Revenberg wasn't also named a CFL All-Star, but he definitely had a great season regardless of whether he's an All-Star or not. And I know Rev's the kind of guy who won't look too far into that. But it's time I bring on my next guest. He appeared in 3 Grey Cups, 2 of those for the Ticats, and was a nominee for the Jake Goddard Veterans Award in 2019. Thanks for joining me, Mike Filer.
Hey, happy to be here.
Hey, how you been doing, man? How's life been, and outside of football, and how's things going for you?
It's going well, man. It was a little bit of adjustment at first, kind of life after football and kind of navigating what path to go. But I'm on the east coast of Canada working for the Fredericton Fire Department, and it's been a dream come true and a great transition to life after football.
Mike, we're approaching the 110th Grey Cup in Hamilton. You were a part of 2 Grey Cup games, the 107th and the 102nd Grey Cup. What makes these weeks and these games so special to be a part of?
Really, it's the hype around it, right? We sign up to play football and we sign up to win, and to raise the cup and the championship and be a part of it. And the Grey Cup's it's the biggest sporting event in Canada, right? It's our game here in Canada, and to be a part of it and to witness it and to experience it, it's amazing. So it's going to be exciting to see it in Hamilton again. I was there at the last time in Hamilton, and I'll be there again this upcoming one. So I'm excited to be a part of it and witness it. But there's nothing better than a Grey Cup.
What did you notice the last time you were around Hamilton when they held it in 2021? A different time, they had COVID, and it wasn't going to be as big as what they're doing this year. But what was the atmosphere like around the city, especially the fact that Ticats were in that Grey Cup?
Yeah, well, I mean, Ticat fans, they make it the home, right? So for it to be in Hamilton and to be a part of that, it was amazing, and COVID did kind of put a little bit of damper on it, and I knew what they were planning pre-COVID for the Grey Cup and the limitations that they had handling it with COVID. It was still a great experience, and it was a great game. Not the outcome we wanted, obviously, but that's part of it. And the event itself was like none other. So I expect nothing less from the business ops side of the Ticats and putting this together. They do a phenomenal job. So it's going to be exciting to see this one as well.
And you're going to be making your way down to Hamilton for this year's 110th Grey Cup. There's so much going on. It's almost like they doubled down on what they couldn't do in 2021, and they're throwing it all into this Grey Cup. But what are you most excited for, aside from the game and coming to Hamilton?
To be honest with you, I'm just excited to be back in the Hammer. I always enjoy coming back and seeing everyone and reigniting those friendships and reliving those memories and everything that we created over my tenure in Hamilton and just seeing everybody, the coaches and the players, the past and present players, seeing the fans again and being a part of the events and going out to experience everything. It's awesome. It's a great atmosphere.
As a player, you were a part of 2 Grey Cups, one in Calgary, one in Vancouver. What was it like for you to be a part of that and knowing you're going into a game where you had the potential to win a Grey Cup and the atmosphere surrounding all of that?
I think back to them often. Like I mentioned earlier, you sign up to play this game to win, and that's the expectation. And unfortunately, in my 2 playing ones, and then I was also a part of the one in SAS, but I wasn't dressing in that game. But just being a part of them, you expect to win, you go out to win, and not living up to that is you carry that for life, right? The what ifs you play, and especially in Calgary when we had the late flag in the last minute of the game. Those things are constantly playing in your mind, the what ifs, and just to be able to have a ring, that's something that we want and we play for and try to accomplish. But the overall atmosphere is just insane. I remember Calgary, you couldn't hear on the field, and I remember having discussions with guys on the sideline and just with timing and everything like that. It was just so loud and it was a crazy atmosphere. And same with being back in Calgary for the second one. I guess the first one was in BC. The second one was in Calgary. It's a crazy atmosphere from the minute you get there. You have all these media requirements. You have all these things that you have to do. And it's just like all you're trying to do is just hone in on the game and focus on the game. And they have all these outside distractions. So, it makes it tough, but it's all part of it, right? We're professionals at the end of the day, and you have to be able to perfect your craft and block out the outside noise. But yeah, it's such a great event for a week, and to stand back on the other side of it now, post playing and retired, to see it. I'm excited to soak it all up and be a part of it again, and just enjoy the week long festivities.
Yeah, it's going to be an insane time. There's so much going on. I want to talk about that 2019 year when you were a nominee for the CFL's Jake Adar Veterans Award. What was it like, and knowing you were potentially going to win an award, but especially an award that means so much to the community and means so much for your character and you as a person?
Well, I learned a lot from the guys before me, Marwan Hage, and I watched his career and how he really connected with the community, and he put a lot out there for the community, and he taught me a lot, and I wanted to continue to do the same, and that's what I set out to accomplish over my career and do different events and just kind of try and give back as much as you can. You're only in that spotlight for a short period of time until your life moves on. And I wanted to do as much as I could to give back. And, just watching the guys that were there before me do it. And obviously Mosca's jersey's right there behind me. He's a legend in Hamilton. And, what he did for that community and the impact he had on that community was, just something that you want to replicate as much as you can. But those are some big shoes to fill. And I just tried to give back as much as I could.
And on award night, what's that atmosphere like and being in that environment? This year's awards will be in Niagara Falls, which is a great venue for the awards at the OLG stage and the Avalon Theater. So the OLG stage will be the concert after, the Avalon Theater will be the awards. But what was that atmosphere like for you and to be a part of such a cool occasion?
Again, when you're so locked into a game and reaching that overall team goal of winning, those things are just minute. I can't even tell you. I don't even remember the awards ceremony or anything like that, because I was just so locked into the game and I really wanted to win a Grey Cup, and I know everybody on that team did, and both those years that we went, we had such a great team where everybody was just focused on the team and not individual goals, and so obviously it's a big part of it. They're great accomplishments and everything like that. But I guarantee if you ask anybody that's current or past players, the most important thing is hosting that cup. And that's what your focus is during that week. And again, you're just trying to block out that outside noise and just stay focused in on the game.
Heading into this year's Grey Cup, there's some performers this time around. There's a few good performers. We have Green Day at the halftime. We have Carrie Underwood on the Friday. And then you also have Shaggy at the awards. Some big hitters there. Which one are you most excited to go see?
I'm excited to see them all. I think Hamilton does a great job. Matt Affleck's been working hard on this in the behind the scenes and the entire business ops staff. So, it's going to be a home run. They've been working hard at this, and I'm just excited to be a part of it. I'm thankful to have the opportunity to come back and see everybody and be back in the Hammer and witness it. And, I just know that these guys have been working so hard on this, and it's going to be an awesome event.
Mike, have you been following the CFL this year and the Ticats at all?
I haven't turned the TV off every chance I get. People ask me all the time if I miss it, and I'd be lying if I said I didn't. I just it's such a big part of your life for so long, and you get so entrenched in that. It's hard to just ignore it and turn it off. And I've been watching the CFL as a whole. This has allowed me to kind of sit back and evaluate all the different teams and watch and I have different coaches in different areas. We have GMs in different spots. So just kind of keeping those connections and talking and those relationships alive. It's been fun to follow.
Any guys on that O-line you're still keeping up with in Hamilton?
Oh, of course. I mean, I just had an hour conversation yesterday with Revenberg on his drive back home, and he's one that he's like a brother to me, and same with Van Zyl. Those guys are relationships that you're going to carry for the rest of your life. So, just connecting with those guys and chatting and talking about it. Obviously, again, it wasn't the outcome that was planned for the team, and that's part of the game, right? I've been a part of those, and the first few hours, the first few days after that loss is the toughest, right? Mm-hmm. So just trying to talk it out and just being there for the guys and listening and keeping those relationships going. That's what it's all about.
I have a totally off-topic question here, but who had the long hair first? Was it you or Rev? Did he get the inspiration from you?
I think we know that the answer to that. I mean, Rev came in quite late, but I do like it. I think it looks good on him, and he's, he fits the mold to it pretty good. But
yeah,
he's gonna have to cut it here soon. It's getting pretty long.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of became part of his persona now at this point. But if you will, Mike, you're going to be in Hamilton for this year's Grey Cup. What is it about the city that you miss and you can't wait to return to see again?
The people. I think Hamilton was such a big impact on my life for 10 years and just being in that city and being a part of, the big events. And we went from, I was a part of Ivor Wynne to Tim Hortons Field, Ivor Wynne to Guelph to McMaster to Tim Hortons Field. We went through some ups and downs, and those fans stuck behind us. The most loyal fans I've ever been a part of in any organization. So it's exciting to be back and to see everybody and just be a part of it again, and just kind of, life moves on. So to kind of keep that flame lit and be a part and remember all the good times I had, I'm really excited to see everybody and be a part of it.
Well, Mike, it was awesome to have you on the show, and I'm sure Ticats fans will be excited to see you in Hamilton for this year's Grey Cup festivities. So once again, thanks for joining me today, man.
Well, thanks for having me. I look forward to seeing everybody.
That was Mike Filer. My next guest is the all-time leader in interceptions in all of pro football, not just the CFL, with 87. He also holds the record for most interception return yards with 1,508. He's won 3 Grey Cups and was inducted into the Canadian Football Hall of Fame in 2002. I can go on and on with his accomplishments, but thank you for joining me, Less Browne.
No problem, man.
And how's everything been going with you? You're still in the city of Hamilton. You've been around for a long time. How are things?
I never left Hamilton. When I came here in 1984, I stayed here. Even when I played with other teams, I stayed here. I came back here during the off season. I worked out with my boy Earl Winfield all the time, and I just stayed here in Hamilton and made it home.
You've been a part of several Grey Cups. You've won 3. This year's Grey Cup's going to be in Hamilton. It's going to be something you're going to be a part of and coming to visit in this year's Grey Cup Festival. But what do you think about Hamilton and their passion for football and being able to hold such a prestigious event here in the city?
Well, I'm glad it's back in Hamilton again, because Hamilton fans, like you said, are very proud, and they deserve to have the Grey Cup here. Just wish our team was in it.
Yeah. Yes.
Right? That would have made it even better for the city, period. But still, just having the Grey Cup here again is awesome, because these fans deserve it. And Bob Young deserves it.
You've been a part of the Grey Cups. You won 3 Grey Cups, but I want to get a few memories from you. And maybe that first Grey Cup that you won, what was that experience like for you? And to do that in your second Grey Cup, but to finally get the win.
But the first one was, like you said, was very... it was emotional, because we went in 1984, my first year here, we went to the Grey Cup and we lost, right? In 1985, we go back to the Grey Cup again and we lose, right? In 86, we go back to the Grey Cup and there was no way in hell we were going to lose that game. I remember talking to Damon Allen, and this is a quick story. He was saying, because Damon Allen was on the Edmonton team, and you got to remember that we played Edmonton in 86. They had Matt Dunnigan as their starting quarterback, Tracy Ham as their backup, and Damon Allen was a third-team quarterback, and all 3 of those quarterbacks are in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Right? So Damon Allen told me, he goes, when we came out of our locker room, it was in BC Place. We come out, we're both on either side of each other. He says they were all jacked up, they're all screaming and jumping around. He says when we walked out of the locker room, we were stoic. We just walked out. He says, you guys were all about business from day one, right? And we were supposed to get beat by, I think, at least 14 points. And from the opening kickoff, it was just a smash mouth game, and we just destroyed them. And I happened to be sitting in the stands and watching that game because the last game of the season, I blew out my ACL.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah.
So it must have been painful to not be a part of that game, and
Oh,
especially
it was very painful to watch, but also enjoyable because that ring on my finger that Harold Ballard gave us was a very nice surprise. It was a half-carat diamond that was sitting on, on top of it. The cat
And
was jumping on top of it, right? So that's
do you
nice.
still wear those, or are those stored away somewhere on a shelf?
I store them away, I keep them for the kids, I only wear them on special occasions. This coming weekend, they'll be coming out.
If you had to pick a Grey Cup that was maybe the most exciting game or one of the most tense games you had, which one would you choose? Because there's so many.
So, the last game of my career was a Grey Cup winner.
Wow.
So I'd have to pick that one. In 1994, the beginning of the season, I told Dave Ritchie, our head coach, this is my last year. And we happened to make it to the Grey Cup. Again, we were picked to get beat because we were playing against Baltimore. And Baltimore had all Americans on their teams, and they were favorite to win. And close game, comes down to a tie with a couple seconds left to go in the game, where Louis Pasaglia kicks the last second field goal to win it for us. So, and I'm getting chills right now just talking about it, because after that game, I just sat there underneath the goalpost and I watched everybody empty out of the stadium, and I watched them turn out the lights. And yeah, so that was very memorable.
Was that a game? Did you know going into that game that it would be your last? Was that already in the books?
Oh yeah, yes.
Did it give you that extra motivation? Let's go out here with a chip.
Well, it didn't give me the extra motivation. I always played every game the same, no matter if it was the first game of the season or the last game of the season. But I tell you what, it was very, very sweet to end your career with a Grey Cup win,
Yeah, I could imagine. What was it like to win a Grey Cup for the Hamilton Tiger Cats, and knowing how much this city is diehard about football? I haven't really seen it. What was it like for you to be a part of that as a player?
Well, there again brings up chills.
Yeah,
because it's the first one and the last one that are really, really important. And because of Hamilton, being in Hamilton, the Grey Cup parade was so deep, right?
Yeah.
Going down Main Street. I mean, like, people were just like wall to wall. It was just a great feeling, a great experience. And they showed the appreciation of us going there twice, losing, and then the third time just dominating a game that we were supposed to get our butts kicked.
And it was special. I mean, I will always look back at those games. I like to watch those old games and to see how dominant they were. And I saw how dominant you were. But at what point in your career did you realize that quarterbacks didn't want to throw near you anymore?
Probably, I think when I had those 14 interceptions in one season.
I guess that'll do it. I mean,
I believe that the quarterbacks were trying to, stay away from me, and I had to, come up with different ways of getting interceptions. And, and that's what people think. My last 5 years, I led the league in interceptions for the last 5 years. And, that's because basically playing with a good team, a good coach who understood, that my knee wasn't going to hold out any much longer. He let me skip out on certain practices. I only practice so many, like once or twice a week, right? Because he knew that my knee wasn't going to last that long. And that's why I had to give it up in 1994, is because bone on bone, I never had the ACL replaced.
yeah.
They just kept taking out, ligaments and stuff and parts until I couldn't do it anymore. So in 94, that had to be my last year, right? Doc Levy, Hamilton team doctor, kept me going from 1987 to 1994.
Wow.
He told me if I got my operation that I'd probably miss out on a year and a half. Back then, surgeries were slower than they are now.
Yeah.
And he told me he had this machine in his office called a Cybex machine. He said, and it'll compensate for the injury. So for 7 years, I went to his office after every season and worked out on that machine.
Wow, that's insane. Do those still exist today, or is that still something they're using? I'm not
You know
I'm not a
what?
medical expert, but
When I go to the breakfast,
Mhm.
Doc Levy's gonna be there, so I'm gonna ask him if he still has it.
Yes,
'Cause I know it made me retire, so I'm pretty sure it made a lot of other people retire too.
they've outlawed it by now, probably. You talked about that 14 interception season. What was it about that year that did you feel like you were on another level at that point?
Um, I felt like things were coming into place that I could visually see things
Mhm.
happening. I was getting a lot of pre-snap reads from formations that offenses were coming at me with, and so I felt like that year everything came into place. And I was playing for Mike Riley, who is a great coach, and he had told me, he says, Les, you're always in position. Only thing I need you to do is start making the interceptions. And so
Mhm.
that year, uh, not only you got to think the first in 1986, I had 12 interceptions. In
It's crazy.
85, in Hamilton, I had 12 interceptions. Paul Bennett, our safety, had 12 interceptions.
That's
The
wow.
year that I had 14 interceptions in Winnipeg, the other corner, Rod Hill, had 12 interceptions.
Holy
So
jeez.
we were competing against each other, right?
Yeah, you were bringing it out of each other. I mean, the other quarterbacks must have not wanted to throw the ball at that
And
point.
plus, we had really, really, really good defenses, and
Mhm.
especially in Hamilton. I still to this day keep in touch with every last one of those guys.
Mhm.
Grover Covington, Mike Walker, Rod Skillman, Mitchell Price,
Mhm.
every last one of them. Ben Zambiazzi, uh,
Yeah,
Leo Ezrins, right?
that's crazy.
All those guys.
It's incredible to see the journey you have, and those teams are legendary. Ticats fans think back to those teams when they think of the golden years of the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Hopefully, some golden years yet to come. Looking at this team and the Ticats this season, is there anyone on that secondary that you've been watching and that's gotten you excited?
Well, yeah, there was a few people. All
Yeah.
right. Both corners on both sides. I
Mhm.
watched because I played corner all my
Yeah.
whole career. So I watched the corners on both sides, and they're
Mhm.
starting to become ball hawks, right?
Yeah.
Um, that they changed the field a little bit around with the hash marks and stuff. So it's making it difficult for defensive backs to play it,
Yeah.
which I wish I was kind of one of the coaches and I'd give them a couple tips.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, I've been watching both corners and they've both been playing really well. I've watched the secondary a lot and
Mhm.
they're getting better and better. Their safety is coming along, number 30. I swear, like, with
Yeah.
with
Cats and
his help,
Tonus. Yeah.
yeah, with his help, and the way he is playing, only thing they need is some pressure up front, and I think that basically they're set. The
Yeah.
defense would be pretty good. I mean, it's hard to compare to the defense that we had because we were
Yeah.
strong in all capacities, and
Yeah.
and you got to think back in those days, players stayed around a long time, right?
Mhm.
They didn't just, they weren't money hungry. They didn't look for, the best buck. They wanted to be with the best team.
Yeah. Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's I mean, also a young secondary in Hamilton, so there's a lot
Yeah.
of growth there that you can see possibly happening. I want to talk a little bit about whenever you were inducted into the Canadian Football Hall of Fame. What was that like, and to be honored that way, and to forever be enshrined as a member of the Hall of Fame?
I think I grew up right outside of Canton, Ohio. I lived
Yeah.
in East Liverpool, Ohio, which is close to Canton, Ohio. We used to go and watch the NFL players get inducted into the NFL
NFL.
Hall of Fame, right? All the time. I remember watching Jim Brown get inducted into the Hall of
Wow.
Fame there. And I kept thinking to myself, I would love to do this, right?
Hmm.
But I had a hard way to go because I was the smallest in my family. In my family, my mom had 9 brothers. She's the oldest of 13. Half
Yeah.
of those 9 brothers were all Americans in football,
Wow.
right? My brother, who is 13 months older than me, is a lot bigger than me, got a full scholarship to go to North Carolina State and play football and baseball.
Wow.
My first cousin went to University of Michigan on a full scholarship. got 3 Rose Bowl rings, right?
Holy.
Got drafted by the Buffalo Bills in the 7th round after he got released, decided he didn't want to play football anymore. And so you got to think, I came from a family of football players, but I was the smallest. So I had to work the hardest.
Yeah. You were playing against all those
Right.
big guys all the time. Your big
So
siblings.
when I got inducted into the Hall of Fame, it I think it was joyful for me, especially because of the career I had and the way I had to get there. And it was also, I think, rewarding for my family as well.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
it's crazy to think it's such an honor. The award show is going to be in Niagara Falls for the Grey Cup this year. What
Yeah.
is it about award night that's special when it comes to the CFL?
Well, because it's always good to be recognized for what you've done, right? I just remember the year that I had those 14 interceptions that we talked about. I didn't even get nominated that year. A linebacker, Greg Battle, who played on my team, got nominated for his accolades instead of those 14 interceptions,
That's insane.
which was one shy of a record of the CFL.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of crazy to think that, because you would almost assume you would have won multiple awards if you look at your career and your statistics, but still you've won a lot and you've done a lot. But Les, what are you most looking forward to next week to this Grey Cup Festival?
A lot of fun.
Yeah.
I like having a lot of fun meeting all the fans that come from nationwide, and it's just a lot of fun. People, you're sitting around, you're partying with people from Saskatchewan, you're partying with people from Edmonton, Winnipeg, Toronto, and it's all about having fun. You even forget, about, the rivalries that you have between the two teams at that time. You just go out and you have fun and enjoy the events that they happen, right?
No, it's going to be so exciting, and I'm sure a lot of people will be excited to see you around the Grey Cup Festival and the events. You're going to be there at multiple events. But Les, it was great to have you on the show today, and such an awesome career. And I got to take a nice look back at your career the last couple of days, just knowing I was going to talk to you, and it's crazy to think what you were able to accomplish. So thanks again, Les Browne, for being on the show
No
today.
problem. And I tell everybody to go on. Most of my highlights online are Hamilton Tiger Kai highlights.
Yeah, they are. They are. I noticed that. No, but you've got quite the package. It took me a while to even get through a quarter of them. So great to watch those again. And thanks
for having
again.
me on here. That was awesome, man.
That was Les Browne. So awesome to hear some stories from him and Mike Filer, and those guys will be around Hamilton at tons of events for this year's Grey Cup Festival, including the Legends Luncheon, where you can meet guys like Les Browne, Mike Filer, and Speedy Banks, who I had on the show yesterday, if you want to check that out, and tons more CFL alumni. And you can get an up-close and personal experience over a lunch that includes a silent and live auction. The CFL Alumni Association's Legends Luncheon, presented by CarStar, takes place on Friday, November 17th at Leuna Station. For more information and to get tickets, go to greycupfestival.ca/events. That's all the time for me today. I want to thank you for listening to this episode of Ticats Today, the lead up to the 110th Grey Cup.